Thesis Writing Tips. For Beginner's Guide to Write Thesis Successfully. Thesis Writing Tips. You can find out what is expected of you by reading theses, especially those chaired by the person who will chair your thesis. And you get ideas for procedures to follow both from theses and from other research projects. In checking abstracts, journalism abstracts and dissertation abstracts, go back at least to 1990, and look under several key terms, and not just in the mass communication section. You'll find lots of television references, for instance, under education and psychology. Do your thesis carefully, you never know when a prospective employer will see it. And certainly, you are finding out how critical future graduate students can be of theses that have been done before. You are also finding out how much these future students will depend on your thesis. These are the big 6 journals that should not be omitted from your literature research: Journal of Broadcasting, Journal of Communication, Journalism Quarterly, Human Communication Research, Public Opinion Quarterly, Communication Research. There are many others, of course, that may, for an individual thesis, be even more important. Your time is valuable, and so is mine. We both want to use it efficiently. You of course want a good mark to send you on a highly successful professional life. In order for us to give you that, we need 2 things. First thing is that, you need to have done good interesting work. No other way, I'm afraid. And second thing is that, in order to appreciate the quality of your work, we need a concise and clear record of it. And because our time is at a premium, we need to evaluate this in an efficient manner. If you waste our time, we don't give good marks. Simple as that. What does an examiner want? Examiner want to find out when he picks up your thesis? With the least amount of pain, effort, and time, he or she simply wants the answers to the following questions. Number 1 question is, what does this work try to accomplish, and why? Number 2 question is, what are the specific contributions it makes? In other words, what does it add to the existing state of affairs? To answer this, we also need information on this prior/existing state of affairs. And number 3 question is, are those contributions genuine? In other words, was the work done in a scientifically responsible manner? Is the development of theory correct? Are the supporting experiments done correctly and properly interpreted? It is important to realize that your report is not about accumulating pages. Everything in your report must contribute to the above objectives. Either it does, or it detracts. Because if it does not contribute, it wastes your reader's time and increases his pain. Here is a list of general principles to keep in mind. Make sure that both you and your reader understand what you want to contribute with each little bit in your report. He should always be in sync with what you are doing and why you want to do so. State it clearly, even before you do the actual thing. Wading through piles of material wondering where all this is going to, simply wastes time and causes frustration. Especially when it turns out that the writer also does not know what and why he is doing something. Make sure that the reader can evaluate your contributions easily. He needs to see stuff that convinces him that your work is correct and that you understand it. Does it correlate with other results? Whatever. Make sure that all concepts are unambiguously defined before you use it. It is very frustrating and a total waste of valuable time to try and fathom the meaning of a badly defined concept, even more so when subsequent work is building on it and then by contagion also becomes nebulous. Always consider carefully what exactly you are trying to achieve with a certain section or graph. Think of efficient and appropriate ways to show what you have learnt, to reveal your level of understanding. Be inquisitive. When you see something interesting in your results, discuss and try to make sense of it. But always distinguish between fact and opinion. Interpret your results. Do not just give a nice picture, but say what is interesting about it. A graph with no interpretation is a or so what. You do the work. If you only get the results, but do not interpret them, well then you do not get that portion of the marks, and that's the larger part. I do not want to guess whether you have seen and understood something. Some representations work better than others. In some cases graphics are great, at other times tables are better. Don't just generate hordes of stuff, rather first think about what is efficient to communicate a specific concept in a particular situation. Then make sure that whatever you have chosen is used properly. For instance, when you include a graph, be clear on what you want to achieve with it. Say it in the caption. Make sure the axes are labeled, it wastes time to infer that from thin air. Make sure that whatever is to be learned from that graph is clearly and unambiguously visible on it. Otherwise it is serving no purpose but chewing up trees and wasting valuable time. Instead of it counting for you, it is then counting against you. As you might have gathered, I am rather partial to trees. Rethink whether you are communicating your message in an efficient manner. Maybe you should plot something else, or whatever. Structure your document decently so that it is clear what is where and what is important. Make it easy to access the important stuff and don't clutter it with useless stuff. The rest of this document focuses on this with many suggestions and hints. Kindly subscribe my YouTube channel Thesis Helper. Thanks for watching.